Hello, I'm David Gilbertson, Chief Justice of the South Dakota Supreme Court. Welcome to the South Dakota court system. The South Dakota Unified Judicial System's mission is simple: justice for all. In jury trials, this mission can only be fulfilled when juries consist of a fair cross-section of individuals in the community. To that end, our law requires that all citizens who are qualified for jury duty shall have both the opportunity to serve and the obligation to serve when summoned. You play a crucial role in achieving justice for all individuals who come before our courts. Your service, like each obligation we experience as citizens of this state and nation, requires some sacrifice, but we have worked hard to develop procedures to provide an efficient, respectful, and meaningful experience for you as a juror. Thank you for fulfilling this important duty in our democracy.
I consider trial by jury as the only anchor ever yet imagined by man, by which government can be held to the principles of its Constitution.
Our founding fathers established a government structured to create and maintain a balance of power by instituting three separate branches of government, each equal to the other: the legislative branch, which creates the laws; the executive branch, which enforces those laws; and the judicial branch, which resolves legal disputes. In the first two branches, we elect people to make decisions for us. In the judicial branch, the responsibility to make decisions lies with each of us. In South Dakota, the judicial branch is made up of many individual courts throughout the state. Jury trials are conducted in both circuit and magistrate court. As we look around our world today, it makes us as Americans appreciate the rights we have enjoyed for over 2 centuries. The right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury is one of our most significant freedoms as Americans and South Dakotans. You have been summoned today to play an important role in this right, for, as we know, there cannot be freedom without responsibility. Your right to a jury trial is accompanied by an obligation to serve as a juror in our courtrooms. With over 60 courthouses in South Dakota that need juries to fulfill our constitutional right to trial by jury, it is important that each of us meet this obligation. Serving as a juror directly impacts the quality of life in our communities. We make decisions on behalf of every South Dakotan, not only helping to uphold our laws, but also to ensure that everyone is treated equally under the law and receives the benefit of a fair trial.
Being a juror is just as important as voting. I heard guys making jokes about that, but they show you a video at the start that talks about it being your duty. And someone's got to sit on the jury. We've all got to pay our dues.
I just became a citizen 2 years ago, and it's been an interesting process for me to have been chosen, getting summoned, and selected to serve in a jury. It's been a great experience for me so far.
It is important that our jury system reflect the cultural diversity of South Dakota. To be as representative as possible, courts randomly select jurors from a master jury list, which consists of the names of all registered voters and driver's license holders in South Dakota. South Dakota law states that any citizen of the state who is a resident of the county where the jury is selected, 18 years or older prior to January 1st of the year of jury service, of sound mind, and who is able to read, write, and understand the English language, is eligible to serve as a juror. Convicted felons can serve after their rights have been restored. If you have never served on a jury before, you may find it helpful to know more about how the jury system works. A jury usually consists of 12 jurors. However, an alternate juror may be selected depending on the county. The jury is sworn in to hear a civil or criminal case by listening to evidence and rendering a verdict. A civil case involves legal conflicts among individuals, businesses, corporations, partnerships, and governmental entities. Civil cases involve such issues as personal injury, property damage, medical malpractice, and contract disputes. A criminal case is one in which the government accuses a person of committing a crime. Jury service in South Dakota generally lasts 6 months to a year. Those who report for jury service are paid a mileage reimbursement from their residence to the courthouse and back. Those who serve on a jury trial are also paid a per diem for their time.
Well, I think it gives you a sense of accomplishment. If you weren't chosen, you may say, here I was here all day and I wasn't even selected. But on the other hand, the jury that I served on previously, they said if I wasn't here, this case would have never been concluded.
Well, you don't have the opportunity to come to the courthouse every day to watch the judicial process. With jury duty, I had the opportunity to experience new things, new processes, and also be a part of the decision making.
Once you arrive at the location designated on your summons, the process of jury selection begins. As you check in for jury service, you may be asked for additional information that will help the selection process go more smoothly. If you need special accommodations, please let the clerk or bailiff know ahead of time. Once you have checked in, you may be randomly assigned to a trial. If so, you will be escorted to a courtroom. Arriving in the courtroom, you may be introduced to the judge, who sits on the bench and will preside over the proceedings. Witnesses, who will give testimony concerning the case. The court reporter, who records everything that is spoken. The courtroom clerk, who creates a summary of the trial proceedings and marks all evidence presented. The court interpreter, who may be present when someone involved in the case does not speak or understand English. In a civil case, the plaintiff, who has brought the case, and the plaintiff's attorney. In a criminal case, the prosecutor representing the government. In a civil case, the defendant against whom the lawsuit is brought, and the defendant's attorney. In a criminal case, the defendant who has been charged with the crime, and the defendant's attorney. And the bailiff, who is responsible for keeping order in the courtroom during the trial. Either a judge, a clerk, or a court reporter may administer the oath to jurors and witnesses. As a juror, you will sit in the jury box during the trial, but will go to the jury deliberation room with the other jurors when it is time to review the evidence and reach a verdict.
All rise.
When your name is drawn for a trial, prospective jurors are sworn to truthfully answer all questions asked of them regarding their qualifications to serve as a juror. Generally, the judge will then introduce him or herself and tell you a little about the case to be heard, including the anticipated length of the trial. The actual jury selection process begins when prospective jurors are asked questions by the judge and lawyers. All questions are designed to determine whether jurors can be fair and impartial. This process is called voir dire.
Your Honor, I used to work with the defendant.
When a juror is excused, it simply means that in that particular case, it is lawful and proper to excuse the juror. Many of those who appear for jury service are not chosen to hear a case, but their presence, availability, and participation is essential to the administration of justice by the courts. Sometimes during the course of jury selection, prospective jurors are asked to wait in the jury assembly room, deliberation room, or even the hallways. The reasons for those delays are not always explained, but they might be due to legal issues that the lawyers must discuss privately with the judge. Sometimes a case may even be settled right before the jury trial begins because of these discussions.
Your Honor,
Yes, counsel.
I would like to recall the last witness.
If selected as a juror, you will encounter each of 4 steps in a jury trial. The judge's preliminary instructions are given to jurors. Your judge will provide you detailed instructions for the case you're about to hear. These will include what you can and cannot do. The trial, which includes opening statements by counsel, presentation of evidence such as witness, testimony, and any documents involved, and closing arguments by counsel. You will also receive the judge's final instructions on the law. Then, you'll be sent to the jury deliberation room to begin consideration of the case. The jury will start by selecting a 4-person to oversee the process. The verdict is the final step in a trial. When the jurors have come to a decision, the 4-person will inform the bailiff or clerk who will read the verdict in the courtroom.
The clerk will now read the verdict.
We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above title case, do find.
In order to make your jury service as meaningful and worthwhile as possible, South Dakota has implemented groundbreaking jury reforms, improvements that now allow you to actively participate in the process and better understand the proceedings. To make it easier for you to follow the proceedings, you may take notes and use them during deliberation. During the trial, there are some specific rules of conduct you must observe. Make sure your cell phone, pager, laptop, or any other electronic device is turned off. Do not discuss the case or make any comments about the case on any social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, or MySpace during the trial. Do not wear hats in the courtroom. Be on time for all court sessions. Listen to every question and answer. If for any reason you cannot hear a question or answer, raise your hand and tell the judge. Do not conduct an independent investigation, visit any of the places involved in the case, or conduct any independent research. Control your emotions. Do not express any reaction, either facial or vocal, to indicate how evidence or a trial incident has affected you. Do not talk to anyone about the case or those involved in the case, such as the parties, witnesses, or the lawyers, and do not let anyone talk to you about it until the trial is over. Do not read or listen to any newspaper or internet stories. Watch or listen to any television, radio, or web broadcasts about the case. Once your jury service is complete, you may talk about jury service, or you may choose not to talk about your juror experience.
Hi, I'm Lori Wilbur, and I'm honored to be the presiding judge of the 6th Judicial Circuit, one of 7 circuits here in South Dakota. You've just heard about what you can expect as a juror, but I wanted to speak briefly with you about actually being a juror. We know and understand that you have many other responsibilities in your life, and so our judges and staff will do everything they can to respect and honor your role as a juror. In the last few years, we've implemented new technologies and opened new court facilities, all to improve both the services we provide and the experience you have as a juror. So on behalf of the judges and staff of the court, I thank you for your jury service.
It was important for me to come here because it's part of our democracy and it's part of our process.
You know, I was hoping to get selected. I thought I was one of the few. I haven't had any problems with it, and my job has been really cooperative.
It's part of what being an American is all about. I have a son, and I was at a school volunteering this week. His whole class knows I'm on jury duty. I said when I'm all done, I can tell you all about it.
Jury duty is just a great opportunity. You know, it's hard to see at first when you first come into it, but there's just so much you take away from the whole experience. You know, really see how justice is served.
You have received a lot of information in a short time. Please ask the court staff if you have any questions. If you report for jury service but are not sent to a courtroom, please know that you still provided a valuable service to our community. Your presence and availability may have caused a civil case to settle out of court or a criminal proceeding to be disposed of without a trial. In either case, justice is well served. On behalf of the South Dakota Unified Judicial System and your community, thank you for your time and service.